Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Deb C, and place to be, it's Deb C. Bloop, that's me, boop, Deb C. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody is having a great week. If not a great week, then a good week, and went back to work today after having yesterday off. So, listen, Tuesday, it's a very special video today. Not just because Jolly made pumpkin pie today and she gave me this, look at this lovely, oh, she makes the best pumpkin pie. So I'm gonna have that later. But listen, last night I watched the finale to my favorite, I'm gonna say this has been my favorite show of, I'm gonna say of the year probably, and that's Claim to Fame Season 2. I cannot believe this, listen. We're gonna get right into it, but I'm gonna tell you ahead of time. This is how to do a finale. This was 2 hours. This was the best way to use 2 hours on a finale. It was jam-packed with strategizing and backstabbing and it, seriously, other ABC reality shows and just any other reality shows, take a note from Claim to Fame. Bachelorette and Bachelor, take a note from Claim to Fame. So with that being said, let's start off. Big giant news at the start of the episode. Monet and Gabe are talking. They're trying to figure out who is Chris related to. Nobody can figure it out. So they role play. They put themselves into the 70s. Monet kind of hypnotizes Gabe a little bit, and they get right to it. And who does Gabe say? Gabe comes up with the Osmonds. Donny Osmond. Finally, somebody said it. Finally. I cannot be the only person who was like, oh my God, they found it out. But they were like, Donny Osmond. He looks like Donny Osmond. But then they threw in there like, how about Ozzy Osbourne or John Travolta? And there was that little panic inside of me that was like, don't, please don't, please don't, please don't. So while that was going on, Carson and Chris were talking. They have absolutely no idea who Gabe is related to. And they're still stuck on the athlete. They get into the challenge. This challenge is going to be different because it is, there's no immunity and there's no bottom two. And everybody will be up for the guesser. So what they have to do, each contestant takes their turn, and there's a board, and it has their 4 fellow contestants, or no, wait, there are 3 fellow contestants, and you have to put, there's like 5 categories, I think, for each, like somebody they co-starred with, and their name, maybe their nickname, or the name of somebody they played, things like that. And they had to put, and then there were like words that were associated with each one of these things, and they had to put them under each of the fellow contestants. And then it lit up if it was right, it lit up if they were wrong. So even if you lost, you still gained knowledge. So each contestant did that. There's no immunity, there's no bottom two, and everybody's up for guesser. So Carson, very quickly, Carson and Chris realized that Gabe's been lying to them the whole time. And I believe it was Carson who realized that, hey, Gabe's relative has been on The Masked Singer. Chris and Carson come up with nothing about Monet, but Chris does realize that Monet is not related to Steve Harvey. Monet is the one that has pretty much stumped everybody on her clues. And what was the other thing? And when Monet went up, Monet wasn't really trying to necessarily get information on the other two. She was really trying to hone in on Chris. I believe she got all of Chris's, and it was like Dancing with the Stars, The Seventh Son. So at the end of this challenge, Gabe and Carson are tied with the most correct statements. But because Gabe did it faster in a faster time, he wins. So basically, if there's what he wins is that if there is a tie in who's going to be the guesser, then he decides. That comes in handy later. So everybody but Gabe is talking, and talking obviously about Gabe. Monet knows who his relative is, and she says off camera that she's not going to reveal it. She wants to keep Gabe on her side, so that he can be her sure shot, because she knows for a fact that it is that it's Nick Cannon. Chris, when they're talking though, Chris is like, it could be T-Pain, because T-Pain was on The Masked Singer the same season my relative was on. So, but once again, Monet says, okay, I will try and get some information from you. She goes to Gabe and she says, I know who you are. I know who your relative is. I'm not going to tell you, or I'm not going to tell them. And Gabe says, yeah, go in and try and push T-Pain. Because Gabe is very nervous now, very, very, very nervous now that everybody knows that he's not related to somebody that plays in the NFL. So Monet goes back to talk to Chris and Carson. And she's like, yeah, I thought about it. I got some tea. It is T-Pain, because T-Pain, he got a lot of kids, and yep, he produces albums, and he plays the drums and this and that, and he was on The Masked Singer. And then one of the two says, but he's not in movies or TV. That's one thing that they got from the challenge, was that Monet's relative is in movies and TV. And they say, but he's not, T-Pain's not in either one of those. He's a musician. And she says, oh, well, that's right. I'm gonna have to figure this out. So she was caught. When she leaves, Chris and Carson were both onto her, and they were like, I see what she's doing here. She's trying to throw us off the scent. So a little bit later on, they're talking, and they come up with somebody possibly for Monet. They think Terry Crews. Maybe it's Terry Crews, because it said that he hosted a game show, and he does host America's Got Talent. And then there were a few other clues, and they said, I think it could be Terry Crews. So Carson says, listen, put me up. Put me up. And Gabe is then also saying, I believe Gabe says, put me up. So Chris then goes out and tries to convince Monet to get Carson as the guesser so that they can get Gabe out. Monet then was talking to Chris and Carson, I believe it was, and was saying, listen, I know who it is. It has to be Kel Mitchell, because Kel Mitchell was in Good Burger. Was Kel Mitchell on The Masked Singer? She's like, he might have been. I think he was. He fits the kind of, celebrity that would be on there competing, sure. So all this time, Carson is then saying she's feeling like she is being used as a pawn for Monet, and she's okay with going up, but once again, she kind of feels like she's being a pawn. She's being used as a pawn. She starts thinking about Gabe's clue, and they show like all the different clues, and she kind of gives a look like she might have it figured out, like she got it figured out. So we come to the guess off. 2 people vote for Carson, two people vote for Gabe. Gabe and Monet vote for Gabe. Carson and Chris vote for Carson. So in this instance, Gabe is the tiebreaker. Gabe picks himself as the guesser, and Carson is pissed because Carson knows, well, that's it. I'm going to be the one going home. So Gabe then says, I believe that you're related to Dale Earnhardt Jr. And as it turns out, he was right. She is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s niece. I thought daughter, but it's niece. It's his niece. So she's out. So for the final three, it is Chris, Monet, and Gabe. I would have picked Chris and Monet. I don't know that I would have ever picked Gabe. I'm going to ahead of time predict, listen, I have prediction winner Monet. Okay, so all the former contestants come back for like a pool party. And it's a good thing they kept Hugo in the pool because he brought absolutely nothing of use to the season. They could have thrown Carly in there too because she brought nothing to the season either. So everybody is just chilling, and Chris and Monet are pretty confident. Chris is pretty confident because no one can guess who he's related to. And it's been ridiculous, just ridiculous guesses. So Chris and Jane is very popular at this pool party. So Chris and Jane talk. She knows. She says, I think I know who you are related to. And if that's the case, I am so jealous. I love him. So she says she won't say anything to anybody. She doesn't. Gabe also talks to June. And he tells Jane, I think Chris is related to Donny Osmond. Tell me, please tell me. She does not say anything. Carson tells Chris that she thinks Gabe is related to Terry Crews. JR, now listen, this is the biggest breakthrough because nobody has been able to come up with a name for Monet other than Terry Crews or Steve Harvey. She's talking with JR and Shane. They know exactly who Monet is related to. They say, you look just like him. You have his forehead. I can't believe I didn't see this before. But they're not going to be saying anything, especially Shane. Monet is Shane's girl. There's no way she's going to say anything at all. So we have a challenge. It's a team challenge. Each of the remaining three, they get to pick people to help them. They have to search through. They have to search for clues in haystacks. And each contestant has a clue about them. They have to take them and put them in. They have like a thing that's lined up that has all of their names in order of when they left. And you have to put each one of the clues there. Well, listen, I don't know who it was, but I think it was Chris. That had Carly. Listen, a rock is not a clue. It's a rock. You're in nature and there's a rock. A rock is really not a clue. She's like, look, I got a rock. He's like, nope, it's not. It's a clue. It's not a clue. It's a rock. Whoever had her, oh my God, so sorry for you. So one thing that was very telling was Chris's clue. Chris's clue was a lunchbox. And on the lunchbox was a drawing of none other than Donny and Marie Osmond. Monet noticed that. That is what then cemented it in her head. Yes, in fact, it is Donny Osmond. He is related to Donny Osmond. And when he got his clue, he tried to not put it, like if it was your clue, you had to put it like they were here and then your clue sat up here. So instead of him putting his clue here, he put it down here for like where the last person would be. Monet saw him do that, saw him put it like here. And she's like, well, that's it. But there was also a very important clue for Monet. Monet's clue was golden glasses and a Caesar, like a thorn, a crown of, whatever what Caesar would wear. So Jane picked up on that. And Jane later tells Chris, listen, that is for Monet. And that is something that's worn by J.B. Smoove. J.B. Smoove wears those glasses, and he is in the Caesars betting app commercial on TV. It's J.B. Smoove. It is J.B. Smoove. So they come out. Neither one of them win. Gabe wins, but they have some interesting information. Gabe wins, so there's going to be 2 guess-offs. In the first guess-off, he gets to pick who's the guesser and who's the target in the first round. In the second round, he gets to pick himself. He could be either the guesser or he could be the target. So a little bit later on, everybody's talking to everybody else. Chris is talking with Carly. Carly is saying that she thinks that Monet is related to Jay Pharoah from Saturday Night Live. If he goes with that information over what Jane says, then you deserve to lose. That's what I thought. And he's almost positive that Gabe is related to Terry Crews. So Gabe, meanwhile, is a little nervous. Like, he doesn't know who he trusts more, who he would rather want to take with him. Listen, I have written here that I'm thinking it's Monet and Gabe in the end, because if he picks Chris and Chris guesses Monet and he says Jay Pharoah, then Chris is out. If he picks Monet and she picks Chris, she's definitely going to say Donny Osmond, and Chris is out. So I was going in thinking either way, it's going to be Monet and Gabe. So Gabe picks Monet to be the guesser. And the target is, of course, Chris. She picks, finally, she picks Chris, and somebody finally guesses the right answer. She guesses that it is Donny Osmond, and it in fact is Donny fucking Osmond. Listen, he looks exactly like Donny damn Osmond, okay? And it puts to rest that Elton John and Billy Idol were not born in Utah, and that Prince is not the father of one of the Osmond kids. So there we go. So he's out. So the question is then, will Gabe be the guesser or the target? It's not difficult to think that he's going to pick himself as the guesser, because I think he's pretty sure that Monet knows exactly who he's related to. So he's the guesser, and he comes up with J.B. Smoove. Listen, and he wins. I have to say, I didn't think that he could win. However, it seems to me that the whole time that he was playing, like he didn't know what was going on. He knew, because it seems like during the time he was seeing all of these clues and was putting them together. And then when JR had come back, he ran this information and he says, yeah, that seems right. J.B. Smoove. So congratulations, Gabe. And that's right, Carly. Gabe's not even that smart, but Gabe obviously is that smart, because he has $100,000 and you don't. So there we go. Congratulations to Gabe. And as we found out at the end, his celebrity relative is Nick Cannon. So tell me what you thought in the comments down below. I love this show. I hope they bring it back next summer. It was my favorite show of the whole year. It was just good fun, and it was a 2-hour finale, and it was used. All of it was used exactly how you would want it to be used, and it wasn't a waste of time. So please let me know in the comments what you thought. I love this show. So with that being said, if nobody told you yet today, I love you. You're loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there. And please take care of one another. If you're someplace where it's stinking hot, please hydrate and stay cool. And no matter where you're at, stay safe. And I love you. I will possibly see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.